My grip tightened on the hammer as the boots approached the stairs. My mind raced fight or hide. My cousin came first. I had to protect him. The intruder reached the second floor. A door creaked open my aunt and uncle's room. Then the bathroom, each movement precise, methodical. He was checking each room. And then the footsteps retreated, back downstairs, then to the basement. I stayed frozen in place, ears straining for any sound. 15 minutes passed. The silence was unbearable. Was he still in the house, hiding, or had he left? Bang, sirens. Flashing lights illuminated the house. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding as the front door burst open. Police stormed in, voices echoing through the house. I heard the thud of boots descending into the basement, shouts of command. A straw, then silence. When the officers emerged, they weren't alone. The man, filthy, disoriented, was dragged out in handcuffs. One officer approached me, his expression grim. He escaped from a psychiatric hospital a province away, he said. He's been missing for weeks. I swallowed hard, my legs weak. The officer's gaze darkened. There's something else. He wasn't just wandering. I frowned. What do you mean? He hesitated, then handed me a crumpled piece of paper they had found in his pocket. I unfolded it with trembling fingers. Scrolled across the page, in uneven handwriting, was my cousin's name, and underneath it, Fentondy. Tonight, the police searched the house thoroughly, confirming he had broken in through a small basement window. He had been inside, lurking, far longer than I had realized. My cousin slept through most of it, shielded from the horror, but I couldn't sleep for days. Every creak of the house sent me into a panic. A week later, my uncle found scratch marks on the outside of the bedroom window, right where my cousin had been sleeping that night. The man had been watching for longer than we thought, planning, waiting. If I hadn't checked that window, if I hadn't moved my cousin upstairs, I don't even want to think about what could have happened. Even now, years later, I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night feeling like I'm being watched. And sometimes, just sometimes, I think I still am. I was only 14 when I learned that true horror wasn't just something you saw in movies. It could stand right outside your window, watching, waiting, and plotting. It was an ordinary night, or at least it should have been. The night was still. It was around 9 p.m., and I was babysitting my little cousin while our parents were out. My mom and aunt were shopping, and my dad and uncle had gone to see a movie. My cousin, the carefree 7-year-old, was curled up beside me on the couch, watching cartoons. But something felt wrong. A chill ran down my spine, an unsettling weight settling in my chest. I told myself I was being paranoid, but the feeling wouldn't go away. I stood up, pretending to stretch, and walked toward the back door to check the lock. I turned it firmly secure. As I stepped back into the kitchen, my breath hitched. There, just beyond the window, was a man. He was gaunt, his skin stretched thin over his bones. His clothes were ragged and dirty, his hair wild and unkempt. But it was his eyes that terrified me, unblinking, hollow, locked onto my little cousin. He didn't move. He just stood there, breathing against the glass. Every muscle in my body screamed at me to run, to grab my cousin and flee. But I knew better. If he realized I had seen him, it could escalate. My pulse thundered in my ears as I turned back toward the living room, keeping my voice casual. "Hey, buddy, let's head upstairs. Your parents wouldn't want you staying up too late." My cousin groaned in protest, but obeyed. As soon as we reached his bedroom, I tucked him into bed and whispered, "Stay under the covers and keep quiet, okay? No matter what you hear." With my cousin safe, I hurried downstairs, heart pounding. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a meat tenderizing hammer, and checked the front door. Locked. Deadbolt secure. I swallowed hard and forced myself to breathe. I turned back toward the window where the man had been. He was gone. He was gone. The night pressed in around the house, an eerie silence stretching between me and the darkness outside. My fingers clenched around the hammer. I dialed 911, my voice barely steady as I explained the situation. The dispatcher told me officers were on their way. It would take at least 30 minutes. Then I called my dad. Dad, stay upstairs, he ordered. We're coming. 45 minutes, too long. The sound shattered the silence, a loud, splintering crash. My breath hitched as I realized what had happened. Oh yeah, he was inside. I pressed myself against the wall, listening. Heavy boots scuffed against the hardwood floor downstairs. The weight of each step sent tremors through my body. I forced myself to stay calm. My cousin whimpered from the bed. I rushed to him, whispering, "It's okay. Just stay hidden." Footsteps, closer now. He was searching,